Ever looked at your Tesla sitting in the driveway and wondered, could this thing actually take me across the country? I mean, we see them zipping around town, commuting, doing the grocery run, but the open road, the long haul, that's a different story. We're talking hundreds, even thousands of miles, navigating unfamiliar terrain, potentially limited charging infrastructure, and let's be honest, that ever-present range anxiety. So, the big question is, can a Tesla really handle a serious road trip? That's exactly what we're diving into today. Now, let's address the elephant in the room, range anxiety. It's real. It's the fear of running out of charge before reaching your destination or a charging station. It's a valid concern, especially for those new to EVs. But Tesla has been working hard to mitigate this. First off, Tesla's range has steadily increased over the years. Depending on the model and battery configuration, you can now get well over 300 miles on a single charge. Some models even push past the 400-mile mark. That's comparable to many gasoline cars. But range is just one piece of the puzzle. The real game changer is Tesla's supercharger network. These are dedicated fast charging stations strategically placed along major highways and popular travel routes. They can add significant range in a relatively short amount of time. We're talking potentially hundreds of miles of range in under an hour, depending on the car and the supercharger. Tesla's navigation system is also specifically designed with road trips in mind. It factors in your current charge level, the distance to your destination, and the location of superchargers along the way. It even preconditions the battery as you approach a supercharger to optimize charging speed. This intelligent route planning takes a lot of the guesswork out of road tripping in an EV. Now, let's get practical and talk about the actual road trip experience. Let's imagine a classic route, Los Angeles to Las Vegas. It's roughly a 270-mile drive, a pretty common road trip. In a Tesla, you could easily make this trip on a single charge in most models, especially if you start with a full battery. However, it's always recommended to plan a quick top-up at a supercharger along the way, just for peace of mind. The navigation system will automatically suggest a charging stop, and the process is incredibly simple. You pull into a supercharger stall, plug in the cable, and the charging starts automatically. You can then use the time to grab a snack, stretch your legs, or use the restroom. What about longer trips? Let's say you're planning a cross-country adventure from New York to California. That's a serious undertaking, regardless of what you're driving. In a Tesla, this is absolutely achievable, but it requires more planning. You'll need to rely on the supercharger network and plan your stops accordingly. The Tesla navigation system will be your best friend on a trip like this. It will map out your entire route, including charging stops, and estimate the charging time needed at each location. It's important to be flexible with your schedule and allow for some buffer time, especially during peak travel periods when superchargers might be busier. One of the biggest advantages of road tripping in a Tesla is the autopilot system. While it's not fully self-driving, it can significantly reduce driver fatigue on long journeys. Autopilot can handle tasks like lane keeping, adaptive cruise control, and even automatic lane changes. This can make the driving experience much more relaxed and enjoyable. Now, let's address some common concerns. What about charging availability at hotels or other destinations? While superchargers are great for fast charging on the road, destination charging is becoming increasingly common. Many hotels, restaurants, and other businesses now offer level 2 charging, which can add a decent amount of range overnight or while you're parked. What about extreme weather conditions? Both hot and cold temperatures can affect EV range. In extreme heat, you might see a slight decrease in range due to the battery cooling system. In extreme cold, battery performance can be reduced, and you might need to use more energy for heating the cabin. However, Tesla has implemented various technologies to mitigate these effects. What about the cost? While electricity is generally cheaper than gasoline, you'll still need to factor in the cost of supercharging. Tesla has different pricing structures for supercharging, which can vary by location. However, even with supercharging costs, it's often still cheaper than filling up a gasoline car. Another thing to consider is the availability of superchargers in more remote areas. While the supercharger network is constantly expanding, there are still some areas with limited coverage. If you're planning a trip to a very remote location, it's crucial to research the charging infrastructure beforehand. So, can you use your Tesla for road trips? The answer is a resounding yes. With its long range, extensive supercharger network, intelligent navigation system, and driver assist features, a Tesla is well equipped for long-distance travel. It requires some planning, but the experience can be surprisingly enjoyable and convenient. It's important to remember that road tripping in an EV is a different experience than road tripping in a gasoline car. It requires a shift in mindset. You'll need to be more mindful of charging stops and plan your route accordingly. But once you get used to it, you might find that you actually prefer it. The ability to avoid gas stations, the quiet and smooth driving experience, and the convenience of autopilot can make road trips in a Tesla a truly unique and enjoyable experience. It's not just about getting from point A to point B, it's about the journey itself. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.